with my mic arm at school. This month, Skyrim celebrated its 10th anniversary, which is bananas to me. Because I remember being excited for this game to come out 10 years ago. I remember going into game stores and seeing the posters, the big stands, the big cardboard ones with that iconic date, 11/11/11 on it. And now it's 10 years later, and Bethesda has released, you guessed it, another version of Skyrim. Skyrim Anniversary Edition is the 5th game, I believe, to come out that is labeled as Skyrim. And if I were to buy it again, it would be the 6th copy of the game I own, which is a lot. I've owned that game a lot of times. But it's got me thinking, what has led to Skyrim's longevity as a game? I mean, it can't just be that Bethesda's released it 5 times that is making this game last so much longer than other RPGs in the genre. Let's take a look at that today. Despite the negatives, I still enjoy Skyrim quite a lot, but there are a few things I don't enjoy. The lack of magic options, I think, are kind of one of the reasons that I end up playing the same character every time, as Sneaky Archer. The weapons, I feel, aren't as fun. They don't look as cool, or, there aren't as many of them. There's like the typical versions of each weapon that you get in the game, but there's not more than that. The armor, I don't think, looks particularly good. It's one of the reasons I usually go with some of the armors that look good, like the Nightingale set, which I think looks dope, but I'm also just a Thief fan in general, so I like that. But I think there's something that stops all of these problems. And that's one of the reasons I think Skyrim has lived this long, with lack of magic options, no weapons, and bad-looking armor. And that's mods. Mods in Skyrim are awesome. It's one of the reasons I think this community has lasted as long as it has. Do you want a mod that increases perk trees? They got one. They want a mod that adds more magic? They got tons. You want a mod that gets more weapons? Those. You want to take your favorite pro wrestler, who from the 80s, and stretch him across the dragon and use his voice lines instead of the dragon shouts? There's definitely a mod for that, and I love it. I love the Macho Man mod so much, and I'm so sad it doesn't work properly on my computer, because I get this like weird tearing where the old dragon model is still trying to come up between Randy's mouth. So Randy will open his mouth up, and then there's just a dragon snout shooting fire at me, as opposed to just like him opening his mouth and then the fire coming out. It's really weird. I was actually experiencing it when I was catching footage for this section. I was like, oh, let me just fight the dragon at the first one you fight with Irileth, and it looks awful. Like, one arm is fine, and then the other wing still has like the membrane from the wing on it, and it I don't know. That's a long tangent about a mod that is just kind of like a meme at this point. There's also the Thomas the Tank Engine mod, which I asked my friends what mods they wanted to see me cover, and the only reply I got was about the Thomas the Tank Engine Dragon mod, which is, to be fair, hilarious. It's such a fun mod. I actually don't have it installed because it will it conflicts with Macho Man, and I should record footage with. Actually, maybe I will record footage with this after. I don't know. This is literally just me riffing. This is not. So how I write these videos is I write them in a script, but I write the script like an essay, and then I have the basics of what the essay is in my head, and then I just forget everything, and I start talking in front of a camera, and I just remember like basic points that I wanted to make. This section about Macho Man is literally like, it's like 3 lines, and I forgot to say my line about me being a massive Macho Man fan, which I think I did say. I didn't think about Bonesaw though. Anyway, the Macho Man mod pulled me into a world of nearly infinite possibilities. There are so many mods for every different occasion, and now when I go back to actually playing vanilla Skyrim, I find it really dull. Like, without having fun mods like farting when you shout, Macho Man dragons, and even just like stuff like the Ordinator mod, which is one of the most famous mods. That's the one I was referring to earlier with expanding perk trees. When I turned it off to get footage for vanilla Skyrim, I was shocked at how few perks there were on perk trees. Like, it's insane. I've been so used to using Ordinator for the last like 5 years that I just like forgot how few options there were in vanilla Skyrim. But one of the things that I think mods do the best is bring together parts of the community. If you don't know, Bethesda has their own version of mods called the Creation Club. It's with all of their, not all of their games, but I think it's with Fallout 4 and Skyrim. like a special edition and anniversary edition of Skyrim have the Creation Club, which are fan-made mods that you pay for. Now, that normally would sound like a very bad thing. You know, paying for mods is something Valve tried in 2015, and it lasted, I believe, literally 3 days without people massive fan backlash, because obviously, why would I want to pay for something that I could used to get for free? I mean, I think paying people for what they create is a very good thing to do, and I think paying people for their mods that they create is a very good thing, and I'm very happy that Bethesda did that. And I think the Creation Club is good for another reason too. It actually brings modders and mod developers into the fold of Bethesda. Like, you have to go through a vetting process. You have to get your idea vetted through Bethesda, and then you go and you work with Bethesda developers to create these mods that go on the Creation Club. Like, it's you go through like a lore checking process, you go through a development process with them, and then you're paid a salary by Bethesda for your time there. It's really cool, actually. The problem with it is that because of that, the mods are a little bit less fun. And I mean, I can't have things like the Macho Man mod on Creation Club. That just doesn't make sense, because there's no reason why the dragons in Skyrim would look like Macho Man Randy Savage, a wrestler from the real world. Yeah, but I mean, it's cool. It's really cool having people, especially modders who are kind of the backbone of this community to me, be involved actively with Bethesda's development cycle is very cool. And I hope they actually continue that for Elder Scrolls 6 when it comes out when I'm 30, and or never at all, because they're just going to keep releasing Skyrim versions. Man, there's a lot of mods. I was actually thinking about this earlier. There are a ton of mods. If you go to the popular page on Nexus, there's like, I want to say there's like close to 1 million mods, but I might be really wrong on that. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. Hold on. Okay, between Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition, there are over 100,000 mods for both of those games. Actually 1, 2, 3, 5 of the top 6 games are Bethesda published games, and I think developed by Bethesda too. Skyrim, Skyrim Special Edition, Fallout 4, Oblivion, Fallout 3. Yeah, because New Vegas is the 6th, and New Vegas was developed by Black Isle. No, Obsidian, not Black Isle. Black Isle did the original Fallout games. My brain is really messed up. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. Mods can't be that big of a deal. I disagree. And I think Bethesda disagrees as well, because Skyrim Anniversary Edition comes with over 500 Creation Club mods pre-installed onto the game, including the 3 DLCs you got from the Special Edition. It's awesome. Like, think about, like, that's 500 plus fan-created content. Like, things of fan-created content that are in a published Bethesda game, published by them. They obviously care about the modding community. And I think if they didn't, the Creation Club wouldn't exist. And they wouldn't be trying to help these modders for their community. I mean, it's weird because I'm praising Bethesda, and I think that company is doing a lot of really bad things right now. And I think they've done a lot of bad things in the past. I think they're going to run it into the ground before we even get Elder Scrolls 6, honestly. And I don't even know how excited I am about Elder Scrolls 6, because they just released another version of Skyrim. And guess what? It was super buggy on launch again. Like, they've had a decade to get this game right on launch, and they keep fucking up. How do you keep fucking up a game you've been releasing for 10 years? They had new bugs in it. It has new bugs in it. If you go through the Imperial War, the Civil War arc, or not the arc, wow, I've been watching too much anime. If you go through the Civil War quest, you get an eternal black screen loading screen. They had 10 years to figure this stuff out, and they didn't. And I feel weird for praising them about this one specific thing, because people are going to be like, oh, you like Bethesda. Bethesda did this, this, and this. No, I don't like Bethesda. Well, I do like Bethesda. I don't think... Listen, Bethesda has done some things right. They've done a lot of things wrong. Like, a lot of things wrong. But I think with the modding community in particular, they've done a lot of good. And actually paying modders for their work, very good. And I think that shows that they believe that mods are super important to their community. And it's a reason Like, what else is new with Skyrim Anniversary Edition? I think it's only the 500, like, well, I think it's only the mods, which means that Bethesda thinks it's important enough to the community that people will buy it for those 500 plus mods. Like, obviously that means it's an important part of the community. It has to be, right? Maintaining and adding to a game that you love is what I think mods do the best. And it's the reason I think games that are, decades old now still have a very active user base, because there are so many new mods coming out. They require a lot of work, a lot of love, and a lot of time. And mods, the people who create mods, they're probably some of the biggest fans of the game. Obviously, you need to know the internal workings of the game really well to make a mod, well, to make a good mod at least. It's just the amount of fantastic mods for Skyrim is staggering, and I think it just shows how much people still love this game despite its flaws. They like it so much they want to change those things. They want to make that game even better. So in conclusion, what has made Skyrim last so long? It's a couple of things. It's you, the person watching this video, about why Skyrim mods and why Skyrim has lasted so long. It's me, the person making a video about Skyrim mods and why Skyrim has lasted so long. But most importantly, it's the modders and the modding community that have elevated this RPG masterpiece into something truly great.